the life that you're trying to live right now, you have ventured off more into the media world and the entertainment business. You co-founded your company, Culture House, which has produced great stories that you've shared with the world. Tell us about Culture House, how did it come about, what does it represent, and why is it important?
Okay. So, you know, to tie the two together, when I was at the White House, everywhere I'd go, no matter where I was in the world, people would be like, but, you know, Obama's not really doing anything, is he? It's just like, oh my God, we are jumping off burning buildings. We're doing somersaults. We're like shimmying across it. We're doing everything we can possibly think of to get people to pay attention to what we're doing. We're holding press conferences. We're in the newspaper every single day. We're on the front page. We are bringing in YouTube influencers. We are, you know, Barack Obama's doing Between Two Ferns. Like we are doing everything we possibly can to get the message out about what we are working on, and yet people aren't paying attention. And so despite the fact that I was really working in more of like an economic sector, I was starting to formulate this analysis that our pop culture and our political life were just so far apart. And so how do you work to kind of close that delta, close the difference, close the space between the two of them? And I was sort of kicking around that idea as I left the White House in the spring of 2016, assuming Hillary Clinton was going to be president, and sort of just being like, my time here is done. I'm going to move to New York and try and figure out how to bring the eyeballs that are all going to pop culture more into the political space. And then we elect a television star president.
Boom.
And it was like, all right, so I guess we're taking this seriously. I guess I really do have to figure this out. And to me, there's an unbroken line between John Wayne and Donald Trump. If you're going to sit 10 generations of Americans or 4 generations of Americans in front of stories that it doesn't matter if you pay attention to the rules, don't look about how someone's doing it, just pay attention to the results. Justice and methods are an individual choice. And at the end of the day, you lionize, you consider the hero to be the John Wayne figure who just does whatever he wants. And then that guy saunters onto a podium. People are like, I know him. I love him. Great. And he's the boss. And he's made all this money.
Right.
And he, blah, 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 blah. He's a businessman. So that reality was really kind of forming how the work that I wanted to do next, and which I still very much consider an extension of the work that I was doing in the White House and I was doing on campaigns.
Right.
I was consulting for a bunch of media companies and got set up on a friend date with my now business partner, Resham Najan, and she's a longtime filmmaker, had her own production company for a while. She'd run a bunch of divisions at Viacom for years, and then was out on her own. And she and I met and started sort of just talking about projects that we find interesting and why and how, and ended up putting together a pitch for a show, and then sold that show. Out of that, started our own company in 2018.
So beautiful. I love this.
Yeah, with another partner, Nicole. And that show that we talked about on our very first friend date is Ladies First, which is out on Netflix right now.
Congratulations, by the way.
The
Critics' Choice Award. Congratulations.
Yes,
Nomination.
A nomination for a Critics' Choice Award. We're so excited. So it's been a really full circle project. But that show is about scarcity. That show is the way that we set up lives centered on scarcity for women, particularly women of color. And we're using hip hop to access that, right? Everyone's paying attention to all the stars of hip hop. It's our cultural touch point. It's our zeitgeist. And how do you have that conversation in a way that actually connects it to the lived experience of women, such as like wage gaps and not getting hired for things, not having workplace protections, all of which these women are going through.
That's right.
Right? Just make it, but make it entertainment. We're one of the only Black, brown, women-owned production companies that runs production services in the country.
Wow.
That's great.
Which is sad, but also cool, I guess.
Right. I know it's always such a, it's like, you know, when someone says it to you as a compliment, you're just like, well, thank you for recognizing that, but I wish there was more.
Right, right.